The kindness that changed everything. The morning air was cold and sharp as Emma Hayes hurried down the snowy sidewalk. Flakes of white drifted from the gray sky, landing softly on her dark blue nursing scrubs. She clutched her worn canvas bag tight against her chest, her breath forming small clouds in the winter air. She was running late, again. Emma was a third-year nursing student at St. Mary's College, and today was supposed to be one of her most important clinical shifts at Memorial Hospital. Her supervisor, Mrs. Patterson, had warned her just last week about punctuality. One more absence, and Emma might lose her placement entirely. The thought made her stomach twist with worry. She walked faster, her sneakers crunching through the fresh snow. The city was just beginning to wake up. A few cars rolled past, their headlights cutting through the morning dimness. Emma checked her phone. 7:15. She had exactly 15 minutes to catch the bus and make it to the hospital on time. But then she heard it, a low, pained groan coming from the alley between two brick buildings. Emma stopped. Her heart began to beat faster. She knew she should keep walking. She knew she was already late, but something in that sound made her pause. It was the sound of someone in real trouble. Slowly, carefully, Emma turned toward the alley. The snow was deeper here, untouched by footsteps. And there, slumped against the brick wall, was an elderly man. His gray hair was dusted with snow. His face was pale, his eyes half closed. Blood seeped through his fingers as he pressed his hand against his forehead. "Sir," Emma's voice came out soft and uncertain. "Sir, are you okay?" The man's eyes flickered open. He tried to speak, but only a weak whisper emerged. "Fell, slipped on the ice." Emma's training kicked in immediately. She dropped to her knees beside him, her bag falling into the snow. Her hands, cold just moments before, moved with steady purpose. She gently pulled his hand away from the wound. It was a deep gash above his right eyebrow, still bleeding steadily. "It's going to be okay," Emma said, her voice stronger now. "I'm a nursing student. Let me help you." She pulled out her small first aid kit from her bag. It wasn't much, but it was enough. With careful fingers, she cleaned the wound using antiseptic wipes. The man winced but didn't pull away. Emma worked quickly but gently, applying pressure to stop the bleeding. Then she carefully placed butterfly bandages across the gash, pulling the edges of the skin together. Finally, she wrapped a clean gauze bandage around his head to keep everything in place. "There," she said softly. "But you really need to get to a hospital. This should be looked at properly." The man's eyes were clearer now. He looked at Emma with an expression she couldn't quite read. Gratitude, certainly, but something else too. Something like surprise. "Thank you," he whispered. "You're very kind." Emma pulled out her phone and called an ambulance. She stayed with the man until she heard the distant wail of sirens. As the paramedics arrived and took over, Emma stepped back. Her hands were shaking now, not from the cold, from the realization of what she'd just done. She'd missed her shift. Completely missed it. As she watched the ambulance drive away, Emma felt tears prick at her eyes. She'd done the right thing. She knew that, but it might cost her everything she'd been working toward. The next day, Emma walked into the hospital with heavy steps. She'd been up most of the night, rehearsing what she would say to Mrs. Patterson. How could she explain that helping a stranger had been more important than showing up on time? Would anyone understand? She pushed through the double doors of the nursing education office and stopped short. Mrs. Patterson was there, but she wasn't alone. Standing beside her was a tall man in an expensive dark coat. His hair was professionally styled. His presence seemed to fill the small room, and most surprising of all, there was a white bandage visible above his right eyebrow. Emma's breath caught in her throat. "Miss Hayes," Mrs. Patterson said, and there was something unusual in her voice. "Was it? Warmth? I'd like you to meet someone. This is Richard Morrison. He's the CEO of Morrison Medical Group." The man stepped forward. Up close, Emma could see his eyes were kind. They were the same eyes that had looked up at her from that snowy alley. "Miss Hayes," he said, extending his hand, "or should I say, my guardian angel from yesterday morning." Emma shook his hand, her mind spinning. You're the CEO of Morrison Medical Group, but you were in that alley, hurt and helpless." Richard Morrison smiled gently. "Yes, I was on my way to an early meeting when I slipped on a patch of ice. I hit my head hard. I honestly don't know how long I might have been there if you hadn't stopped to help me." Mrs. Patterson cleared her throat. "Mr. Morrison came here this morning specifically to find you, Emma. He wanted to thank you, and he's told me the whole story." Emma felt her cheeks flush. "I'm so sorry I missed my shift. I know I should have." "Should have what?" Mr. Morrison interrupted gently. "Should have walked past someone who needed help. Should have prioritized a schedule over a human life." He shook his head. "Miss Hayes, what you did yesterday showed me something important. It showed me that you understand what health care is really about. It's not about policies and schedules. It's about compassion. It's about stopping when someone needs help, even when it's inconvenient." He turned to Mrs. Patterson. "I've spoken with the dean of your nursing program. We at Morrison Medical Group would like to offer Miss Hayes a special scholarship. It will cover the rest of her education and guarantee her a position at any of our hospitals after graduation." Emma couldn't speak. She couldn't even breathe. This couldn't be real. "Furthermore," Mr. Morrison continued, "we're establishing a new award in your name. The Emma Hayes Compassion Award will be given annually to one nursing student who demonstrates exceptional kindness and character in their practice." Tears spilled down Emma's cheeks. I don't know what to say." "Say you'll accept," Mrs. Patterson said, and she was smiling now, really smiling. "Say you'll continue to be exactly the kind of nurse you showed yourself to be yesterday." Emma nodded, unable to find words. But Mr. Morrison understood. He reached out and squeezed her shoulder gently. "Thank you," he said simply, "for seeing a person, not an inconvenience, for stopping when others might have walked by. The world needs more people like you, Miss Hayes, and health care certainly does." That evening, as Emma walked home through the same snowy streets, everything looked different. The city lights seemed brighter. The cold air felt refreshing rather than harsh. She thought about how one moment, one decision to stop and help, had changed the entire course of her life. She'd almost kept walking, almost let fear and worry keep her from doing what her heart told her was right. But she hadn't. She'd stopped. She'd helped. And in doing so, she'd discovered something important about herself and about the world. Kindness, Emma realized, was never wasted, even when it was inconvenient, even when it came at a cost. Because somewhere, somehow, it would come back. Maybe not in the way you expected, maybe not when you expected it, but it would come back, and it would change everything.